Ding ding, connect the dots. Connect the dots. A podcast that brings you people from various walks of life to talk about business, arts and craft, entrepreneurship, and whatever field that they are in, and it is worthy of people to listen to gain traction or one or two lessons from it. Today, we are together with someone special because it is special in regards to the fact that it's something new in northern Nigeria that was created, and it's no one else but Malam Abdussalam Jamil. Okay, the first name is Jamil actually, and Abdussalam is the surname. Malam Jamil Abdussalam is an entrepreneur, a graduate of mass communications, first master's in business administration, the second one in entrepreneurship, and maybe we'll get deep dive into the other things that he does. He applied for a grant, UWIN, which was created during the Goodluck Jonathan administration, and a lot more, plus farmers market. And it's a great pleasure to have someone with this diverse background on Connect the Dots today. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you. So, when you talk about success story or people who are making it, or they're upcoming, or they are in some certain ladder of success, people think, especially young people nowadays, and I'll just narrow it down to the northern part of the country, think it comes easy. Let's go straight into where you started from. You've got a stint with the Freedom Radio Kano. You've got stints with the banking sector and other things. What actually drew your attention into becoming an entrepreneur and the person that created Northflix streaming platform?
Okay, thank you once again. And I would say it's a long journey, with a lot of bends and turns, over the years. It started back after graduation, myself and a couple of friends joined Freedom Radio as more like a volunteer workers, just for the sake of the experience, we're going there just to learn the job and all. So after which some of us left and some are still in the media industry.
Okay.
From there, I joined a banking sector where I started as a sales agent, Sales agent means working in a bank but through a third-party company. Oh yeah. I remember when I started, I think I was being paid 18,000 naira then, more like a commission, an allowance, but based on your effort to bring in money, they'll pay you, I think, 3,000 naira per 1 million naira you bring.
Yeah. 3,000 naira per 1 million naira. Yes. And I know there is value for Nigerian naira then.
Absolutely. So that's how it started. I remember when I was given the offer, a lot of my friends that we graduated together turned it down, like, how would I go there? Because I remember the suits I was wearing was far more than the 18,000 naira. Yeah, but I took it, and luckily enough for me, I wasn't looking really at the money. I wanted the experience, because even at that, I was a fashion designer. I was sewing clothes and sending them down to UK, at that very time, So I went there for the experience, and after a year of dedication, I was confirmed.
As a main staff, full-time staff.
Yep. And it got to a point that with that 3,000 naira per 1 million, I was earning a lot of money, even more than the full-time staff.
Wow.
So for the bank, because it depends on the volume of the money you bring in.
Yeah.
So the bank felt, okay, we feel this guy, it's kind of valuable if we're going to confirm him. So I was confirmed. And I was being paid a normal salary and all of that. And that's where I realized, because of my relationship with a couple of our customers, and advising some of them whether someone will come seeking for a loan, and I will now, after conversation, you get to realize that they don't even need a loan. They just need their business to be a little bit more structured, So that's how I realized that I didn't belong to the bank, and all of a sudden, I think I was confirmed 3 months later. I resigned from the bank.
Wow.
Yes.
That's a lot of courage to do as a young person.
Absolutely. So I left the bank to set up my first company, formerly called Express Speed Shoppers. Express Speed Shoppers was more like a home delivery service company.
Okay.
Then I remember there was a time I traveled. I went for a training in Lagos, and my wife called me that she was cooking, and a cooking gas got finished, and there wasn't anybody there close to her to send for that. And that's how I realized that there are 1,000,001 people out there that are suffering from having access to the market, So that's how I started Express Speed. So what we're doing then was you call us and you tell us whatever you need. We'll go to the market and bring it at exactly market price, and you give us 500 naira delivery fee. Yep.
Oh, so it means there is no service charge. It's just the exact price in the market.
Yes. So what we did was we had some vendors. We collaborated with some vendors that, okay, look, I'm going to build on your turnover. If you're making, let's say, 100,000 naira sales in a day, we're going to build it by probably 150 or 200. And yes, so if we do that, then you're going to give us commission. So we get commission from the vendor, and from your own end, you give us 500 naira. And then I was having like 6 people under my payroll, and with my car, we have 2 tricycles, 2 motorcycles.
More like an e-commerce platform.
Yes, but ours wasn't e-commerce. It was just based on phone calls. And
word of mouth.
Yes, close relationship. We go to banks, we go to offices, drop our flyers. And we had a number of people, and boom, we got the story that federal government commissioned a competition, a business plan competition called You Win.
Yeah.
And I applied.
You Win is Youth Enterprise with Innovation in Nigeria.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're the maiden, You Win winners. So I applied. I think the first round, almost 1.something million people, Nigerian youth applied. And I was lucky to be shortlisted among the first 6,000 people to go to the second round, and I won. I got to the final, and I won 10 million.
Mashallah. That must be a huge work. How did you get there?
I was lucky to get there. That's what I would say.
Luck. Okay, like not everyone believe in luck anyways, but that's a lot of transitioning from media to the banking sector and now to business, being an entrepreneur. And in Nigeria, being an entrepreneur is really a very huge task that you need to put a lot of things in consideration. More like an e-commerce platform that you created. What next for you, and how did you continue managing that e-commerce kind of platform?
Okay, well, after the You Win, so what happened was when I was applying for You Win, I applied for an agri-based business.
Okay.
Because while I was serving, I was one of the few people that were selected across every state. There was a program called SMEDAN MDG's Agri-Allied Entrepreneurship.
Okay, I know SMEDAN.
Yes, so where federal government through the NYSC selected 10 NYSC core members in every state. So I was one of the 10 people that were selected from Kaduna. No. So we went to Abuja. We were trained on myself. I picked poultry and animal husbandry.
Oh, wow.
So I got to know how to write a business plan during my NYSC. Wow. And I used that to apply for You Win. Oh, wow. And when I got the money, and that's how I started my poultry farming, then boom, that gave birth to Hajjaj Fresh today.
Oh, and what do you do in that regard?
Well, at Hajjaj Fresh, what we did was from the poultry farm, after we farm the birds and process them, then we take them to Hajjaj Fresh, more like an outlet. So when I was about to open the outlet, I felt there was a need for us to do something a little bit different from what's been done in the society, where instead of you to go down to the market, if you want to buy, let's say, lettuce, it all depends on what the vendor wants just to give to you. Or if you want to buy tomatoes, or if you want to buy potatoes, they would just have to probably put the smaller ones under the basket and you put the larger ones on the base, you know. So we now decided like, okay, let's do it open, you know, scale and measures, you know. You come, you see whatever you want, you pick whatever you want, and we have scale there. So you measure. So based on the measurement, you pay everything per kilo, you know. So we started that. Even lettuce, we're selling lettuce per kilo. So we brought in varieties, almost a lot of broccolis, you know, a lot of them there, you know. So it was new, you know, because when we started, I remember people were coming in, hey, why would you be doing this? Why would I buy lettuce, like you know? Why would I buy lettuce using scale, you know? So, but this is something that I believe in, you know, and I stood by it, and here we are. So people, after that, a lot of people started that kind of business, you know. So we kept evolving over time because some of these vegetables get perished, you know, over time easily. So we now, as an entrepreneur, of course, we had to devise a means to preserve some of these things, and preserving them means creating some of end product for them, and that's what gave birth to our samosas, our spring rolls, our mincemeat, which we distribute nationwide.
Nationwide? You mean it's outside the coffers of Kano?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's really great. And for a young person, because when you talk about young people in northern Nigeria, it's the quick money syndrome that we all deal with, the instant gratification that we all sought for, and it's really a sad thing that we need to change as time goes on. And let's move away from business a little bit. The CEO of Northflix. That's one of the things that are trending now on social media, especially being that the founder is a northern person, and people think that people from the north are not as smart that would bring about something like that. When did you conceive Northflix, and what birthed Northflix?
I decided to give back to the society, you know, by way of imparting the little I've learned over the years to the graduating student of business administration and entrepreneurship at Bayero University. So I'm a volunteer lecturer there, you know. So in the course of doing that, I got the opportunity of meeting Ali Nuhu, you know.
One of the veteran Kannywood actors.
Absolutely, he has been there for decades, you know. So he was just complaining about the issue they are facing, and some of these issues were issues of piracy, which I felt from my experience and my network of people in the IT is something that could be carved, you know. And by then, I pulled a pen and paper, you know, and started drafting a business plan on how to go about solving the problem, which I felt if I would really solve that problem, I would make a lot of money from it. Yeah, and that's how it started.
What year was that?
That was in 2015.
Okay.
Yeah, and I started researching, going back and forth, consulting and all of that, and having partners, you know, technical partners and people within the industry and outside the industry, within the country and abroad, you know. And in July 2019, was the day we commissioned Northflix officially for usage.
Oh, that's wonderful. It took like long years of research before you arrived at launching the product. Okay, quickly, it's much more like a talking break before we continue with the conversation. I'm sure that you've got different things that make you think outside the box. So this is much more like a short break. So we're going to chit chat on those things that keeps you going. When people are trying to conceive an idea or do anything, maybe there is a driving force. What's your driving force in all of this? Entrepreneurship, mentoring people, business, and even creating a streaming platform.
Well, I would say my driving force is just I feel whenever I am moving around, what people see more like a problem, I see solutions around it, you know, and with that, I always want to go around bringing out the solution. And without knowing, some of my businesses, I never knew I was going to start a business until when I start them, you know. So out of the curiosity to bring out solution in all of these things, boom, I found myself running a business.
Oh, mashallah. That's a quick one because we need to make it more interesting for people to understand that all of these things don't just come easy. Again, if you're just joining Connect the Dot at this moment, we are talking to Jamil Abdussalam, the CEO of Northflix, and even an entrepreneur par excellence, I would say, in different fields, mentoring young people on how to see solution-based on so many things that are disturbing us, especially in northern parts of Nigeria, instead of seeing problems all the time. Welcome back. It's been a robust kind of conversation, so a little more deep dive into what Northflix is doing. Northflix sounds similar to Netflix. I know there is something that bettered the name. What actually bring about the name Northflix?
Okay, when we're about to coin this name, I had a roundtable meeting, myself, my co-founder, our legal advisor, and some few other members of the team.
All right.
And I threw that name to them, and everyone was saying no. And honestly, it was a deliberate way of coining a name. One was that's what they call fame capitalization.
Okay.
To capitalize on someone's fame, of course, without infringing on their rights. So when we checked, theirs is net, ours is not. And Flix means a bunch of movie where nobody has any monopoly over the name.
Okay.
And North, we're coming from the North, we're focusing more on the Northern content. Flix, a bunch of movies, put the names together. It doesn't relate to Netflix, and that's what we did, and we got our business registration with the CAC. We went to the Copyright Commission for trademark, and we got all of that. And while running the business, we received letter from Netflix that we're infringing on their intellectual property right. Yeah. So we went back and forth with the legal team, our legal team, had a roundtable discussion, and all of that. And here we are. We won the battle, and we're good.
MashaAllah. For people watching who don't know what CAC is actually an acronym for Corporate Affairs Commission. It's a company registration agency under the Nigeria's government. And so after the battle with the name, Northflix, just like Netflix, I'll say, is a streaming platform, and it means that you require a lot of content to keep it up and running. So where did you start the content hunt from?
Okay, well, basically before the content hunt, we got into the business for three main reasons, which we felt if we could address these problems, we're going to be pretty good, And one of them was the piracy issue. We felt there are good contents out there. People in the industry are producing pretty good content for the region, but the main challenge was once they produce it, there are people out there that are stealing from that content and uploading them on free-to-air channels, and also we provided a platform that controls the piracy issue. Once you give us or we buy your content, we upload it, nobody can have access to recording it or downloading it. So
how do you do that?
Well, a lot of technology, a lot of investment in terms of tech, so we're able to do that, alhamdulillah. Then the second part was the issue of accessibility. The industry had more like a weak or poor distribution channel, where if you have a content today and you upload it, people wherever they are across the globe to have access to watching it. So we provided that platform as well, where so long you have internet, you can have access to northern content. And the third one, the final one, is the quality of the content, which over the time, we felt there are people like yourself, myself, that would really want to sit down and watch northern content, but probably the quality of the delivery of the production, is a bit weak. or it needs to be improved upon, So we got in and invested a lot of resources, a lot of expertise, in seeing that we bring about producing nice content. So these were the three driving forces that brought us into the industry. And we're able to solve all of this, except for the quality content which we are on. And this takes a while before you kind of have so much effect on it. And part of what we're doing now is collaboration, with other entertainment industries within and outside the country. Right now we have a couple of documentaries, we have a couple of TV series. Like there's a TV series that's coming up called Zainaba. It's about a culture shock that portrays Hausa and Yoruba culture, which we're bringing southern people into it. We have northern people into it, and we spice it up, and the audience are going to be diverse, So these are kind of collaborations that we feel if we do, people beyond the northern Nigeria will want to sit down and watch how the country.
Oh, that's great. So now the thing is, when you come up with something new in Nigeria, especially in northern Nigeria, people try to resist that. Oh, what is this about? And you need to work with relevant stakeholders, including the filmmakers, the actors, and every other creative person in between, to get those good content onto your platform for streaming. What are the challenges that you faced in introducing Northflix to people, especially the people in the creative industry, the actors, the producers, and the people that are the viewers?
Well, of course, part of our feasibility study, we saw that coming, because, if you're going to divide Nigeria into three regions, the north, the southwest, and you take the southeast, that is Hausa, Yoruba, and Igbo. For example, if you take Igbo, when you're talking about entrepreneurship, you're talking about industry and all of that, you talk about Igbo in Nigeria. When you're talking about education, knowledge-driven businesses and all of that, like the banking, insurance and all of that, you talk about Yoruba. But in northern Nigeria, we talk about trading, because this is what buying and selling. This is what our forefathers have been doing. So it's a bit difficult for you to come in and invest your money into an IT-based business. They don't see it. They believe in tangible business, something that I can invest, I can see with my eyes. And of course, this is something that you spend hundreds of millions without touching anything. So it was a bit of a challenge, but over time, we're good. After like 3 years plus in business, some of them are able to see the potential because it's yielding results. We have viewers across over almost 100 countries, and people are paying toward this content. So when they see the result, and of course everyone will fall in.
What are your statistics saying about your viewership and the popularity of Northflix among people within and outside Nigeria? Because I'm sure because of technology, you can be able to see the demographics of people watching, the number of people from different countries and all of that.
Well, and that will shock you, honestly. When we were reviewing, the demography, we have people watching Hausa content in Greece, in Sweden, in places where you never thought of, but we have customer base there. As I said, we have customer base across over 100 countries.
Wow.
Then this includes Europe, America, Latin America, and to my greatest surprise, our second largest country where Hausa content is being viewed on Northflix is not even Africa.
Wow.
Yes.
Where is that?
That's America.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's really great. What are you doing to be better in bringing relevant people into bringing like good quality content that can compete with content on Netflix? Especially from northern Nigeria, because you find out that the Kannywood industry, there are a bit of challenges.
Okay, well, I think this is almost centered around investment, where we try to get people invest into the industry or invest in Northflix. we're lucky around December or January this year, we're able to get a venture capitalist.
December last year or January
this year.
Okay.
That's when it was closed. The investment round was closed.
Okay.
And we're the first in the whole of northern Nigeria to secure investment from a venture capitalist. Unlike in southern part where you see hundreds of millions of dollars being invested in businesses.
When you talk about something like this, you've got to bring relevant stakeholders like the actors, creative industries and all of that. What are you doing in terms of that to be better or to do better on your platform?
Okay, we're just working on just making sure we have a platform that's really attractive and giving it out at a global standard where investors, wherever they are across the globe, could see the potential and bankable enough for them to come in and invest. January this year, we're able to get an investment from a venture capitalist, being the first in the whole of northern Nigeria to love that kind of opportunity. So we feel by so doing, other VCs or angel investors across the globe could see the reason why they should come to northern Nigeria. So, streaming platform, it's content driven, You have to produce standard content, you have to produce a lot of content to have people stick onto the platform. So what we're doing now is to make sure we put in a lot of money, into the industry, create content across different genre, documentaries, TV series, feature-length movies, and all of that.
Different genre.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So with all of this, we feel, Northflix will get to a point that whatever platform across the globe, once they mention their name, we can proudly mention our name there.
And be competitive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's great. In all of this, being an entrepreneur, being a CEO on a content-driven platform or streaming platform and all of that, do you have like a mentor that drives you towards all of this, your goals?
Yes. This angel investor called Richard, he is the owner of London Business School.
Okay.
And a school for startups rather. There's someone that I first of all started watching him on Dragon's Den.
Oh wow.
Yes. And I picked interest in him, and fortunately for me, he's one of the people that trained us during the win. He came to Nigeria.
Oh wow.
So he trained us, and that's where I understand the spirit and power of mentorship, because I remember within 15 minutes of our first session, that's where he changed my mindset to understanding what entrepreneurship is.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So from there, I believe in mentorship, and I believe in you talking to someone that's so experienced and exposed in whatever field. When you sit down and have them talk to you, there are a lot you're going to learn. And I'll give you another instance that it's a business problem that lingered in my head for years. Around last year, almost around November last year, I got an opportunity to meet one professor in entrepreneurship. Within 5 minutes of my conversation with him, he solved my problem and changed my mind.
5 minutes?
5 minutes, yes.
Oh, yeah. So now let's say giving back, because you've spoken about giving back, and there is the deficit in northern Nigeria with mentorship. You find out that there is a wide gap between the people at the top, maybe they're doing well in their businesses or in some career path and all of that. Are you giving back to the society by mentoring younger people?
As I said earlier in the program, that I do a voluntary guest lecturing in Bayero University. I'm not being paid. I take them through psychology of entrepreneurship, just changing their mindset on understanding what business truly is in reality. And there is a program I just created called Pitch Up Nigeria, You know, yeah, it's on social media, you know, just trying to do a live program inviting young Nigerians to come and pitch whatever crazy ideas they have, and we give them a grant.
I think I saw that on Instagram.
On Instagram, and just give them a grant. You know, with that, we understand that there are potentials, you know, and sometimes that's an avenue, even if you're not giving out money, it's an avenue for your younger ones to talk to you, you know, to tell you what their mindset is or their crazy ideas are. And with the little, you know, you can just guide them to do something a bit better than they would have done on their own.
Okay, because we are all about building mindset and change and resilience, and we care about people's mental health too at the end of the day. What do you think we need to do as young people to change the narrative in Northern Nigeria, especially with the laid-back attitude in terms of everything that you think about creating content? We're laid back. Doing businesses, it's more like the trade thingy, like buy and sell, is not like structured. What are we going to do as a young person that you've touched different sectors of our economy, being a creative person and overseeing a streaming platform, being an entrepreneur who goes all out, more like an e-commerce platform? What are we going to do to change the narrative in Northern Nigeria?
Well, I think the narrative has more like 3 steps to be changed from the level of the government, you know, to the level of the society at large and to the level of the youth. You know, I would strongly suggest that the curriculum in universities and colleges need to be splitted into 2, you know, where the 50% of it should be handled by academics and 50% should be handled by industrialists, artisans, entrepreneurs, because I feel the way I'm going to talk to a student about entrepreneurship is never going to be the same with an academics, because he reads and pour into their head, but I go through it and I tell you where I fall and where I wake up, you know. So when a student is being driven by both academics and an artisan, you know, their mindset will change, and you allow them, when they go out there, that entrepreneurship spirit will be the driver.
Do you mean that is going to be on the tertiary level or from the grassroots?
From the grassroots, when I would say from high school to colleges, then to universities, you know, because believe me, the spirit of entrepreneurship, sometimes you just need to talk to someone. When you talk to them, allow them. After sleeping over it, society would determine what they become in their lives.
All right.
Yeah.
The next stage.
Yes. Then the next stage is the society at large. You know, the society needs to understand that we have to kind of create enabling environment for ourselves. You know, we don't have to rely heavily on government. You know, unlike how we are all living, anything, if we want to fix our road, we're waiting for the government to come and do it. You know, if we want to better our education, we're waiting for government to come and construct buildings for us, you know. So it's high time we believe that we have to shape our future. We have to shape the future of our younger ones by ourselves, you know. And the third one are the youth, you know. As youth, we have to believe that you are the driver of your future, you know. You have to stand up, be aggressive at whatever you believe in. You know, I know it's a norm where after graduation you want to have a white collar job, you know, and all. But believe me, if you're good at what you do, you know, a white collar job will come hunting. Like if I want a job tomorrow, all I need is to have a CV and throw it out. I'm going to get it, you know. But it's not what I'm dreaming of. It's not what I want to be, you know. So if you really want to get the job, be good at whatever you do. The job will come hunting.
Okay, in all of this, you're a young person, and there is Northflix, there is the Hajjaj Fresh, yes. And there are other things you're doing. How are you managing all of this, including family?
You know, as you're growing, you have to go through a lot of courses, you know. I study a lot. That's one of the things I love doing, you know, on how to manage businesses, you know, yes and all. So I have a team of experts where they're heading almost all my businesses, you know, but I'm there, you know, and I don't mix up the two. You know, my family time is my family time. Business time is business time.
Oh, that's great. So you were able to find a balance
yes,
between
absolutely.
business, family, and every other thing you do in between. So where are you seeing Northflix in a couple of years?
Well, I would say a conglomerate.
Okay.
Yes, I would say Northflix is going to be not just northern Nigeria, but because when you're talking about streaming platforms in Nigeria, Northflix is one of them. And I will tell you that amongst the streaming platforms we have in Nigeria, we're one of the best. You know, so we're looking at locking investments. Northflix is going to be a multi-million-dollar company in the next few years to come, inshallah.
That's great. I wish you all the best and all of that you do. So Northflix, what are the feedbacks so far? Would you say you guys are making it, like you're making it big the way you want to make it, or you're still on the way?
Well, we're making it more than what we're expecting, because honestly, my expectation personally was a lot of stumbling blocks will never allow us to get to where we are today. But here we are, you know, and we never thought that it was even going to be easy to get a VC to come knocking on our doors, you know, and here we are. You know, we never thought that a multi-billion-dollar company like Netflix will come chasing us, you know, and here we are today, you know. So there are a lot of potentials which we're not able to know until when we get in, and a lot to be unlocked.
Okay, one word for young people, or will I say a sentence for young people, especially in Northern Nigeria, before we call it a wrap?
Well, there are millions of doors out there. Pick one, keep knocking on it until it opens.
Thank you so much. And that's it on this edition of Connect the Dots. We actually connected the dots from being a young graduate going to work with Freedom Radio and doing banking stints and jumping into different businesses. It's been a cool ride with Jamil Abdussalam. Many thanks for joining us, and see you again next week. It's Connect the Dots.